Great quarterback, Washington High. I'm great. When you in the trap, all these rules reply. Listen, nigga, keep it in your lap, not to the side.
And welcome to another edition of the BTW Podcast with myself, Noah, and my friend to the right. Say your name, man. Why you be such a light for, bro?
I'm not light. I'm just trying to.
This guy, he's the
build up.
He's the biggest lighty in the world. I even called him before we recorded this podcast, yeah, and he's doing this nonsense.
Coming in at 248 pounds from East London.
Don't listen to him. He doesn't even want to.
6'3".
He doesn't even want to play the sport, like, let alone all these metrics. All these metrics here are nothing. Yeah, he doesn't want to play the sport.
It hurts.
He's got all the tangibles to be a great player, but he's doing this nonsense.
I'll be
elite my ass. Anyway, you know what, guys? This is our NFL special, bringing you before the new year. And obviously, we do know it's week 17 coming up, and there's a lot going on in the NFL right now. So we're just going to talk about the NFL playoff picture. We're going to talk about what's going on and what we expect to happen in the next few weeks and into the postseason. And we're also going to talk about the MVP discussion. I have a lot of things to say. It'll be controversial, but I still have a lot of things to say. Once again, it's Jeff, if you're listening, I know you're going to enjoy this podcast. We're also going to have a discussion, as we do in every NFL segment of this podcast. We're going to focus our talk on the need for and whether a dominant defense can guarantee you post-season success.
Nope.
So we're not going to do that. We'll get to that eventually, Torella. Yeah? Anyway, this is on myself, Yannick Noir. Find me on Twitter. And Torella, want to drop your handle?
King_Rella. You know, it's me.
Okay, so let's get cracking. So, Rella.
Yep.
The NFL playoff picture.
Mm-hmm.
Looking, it's a bit of, I want to say it's anticlimactic right now because the AFC is pretty much sewn up.
Yeah.
All the playoff spots are taken. The only thing left to play for really is seeding. So we're not going to focus too much on that. We're going to go straight to the NFC.
No, but before you do, because I think when you say the only thing focus is seeding, but with the Derek Carr injury occurring in the AFC, it's made a big shift because it would have been. That was the biggest threat to the Patriots. However, now with him going down, what you would love to say Alex Smith and the Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, I'm actually wearing Jamal Charles' jersey now as we speak.
He ain't playing this season, but you know.
He ain't playing. Alex Smith
He played like 2 games actually, didn't he?
Yeah.
He played a couple of games and they put him back in injury reserve.
I think he's done, which is really sad because everyone remembers when AP came back from his injury and he did post some monster stats, but Charles came back at the same time.
I think they rushed him back, to be honest.
Pardon?
I think they rushed him back too soon. They didn't realise that it was such a bad injury.
He could have actually sat the whole of this season because West and the likes were all doing a good job, and Spencer Ware were all doing a good job. But, they brought him back and they just put him down again, and we could have seen the end of a...
They don't really need him.
Great QB. But, I mean, looking at the playoff picture, I think now, if not the Chiefs, their defense can do the job, but...
Alex Smith in the playoffs.
Not really.
But do you know what? Saying that, the performance against the Broncos does give their fans a bit of confidence. Fair enough, it's the Broncos defense who they literally lit up. Broncos defense, fair enough, they're struggling against the run. I think they're in the bottom quarter, in the third quarter in rushing yards allowed. But they're still a very good defense, even without players like Brandon Marshall, they're still very good to come up against. And then players like Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill's been a revelation this season. Yeah, it's been a revelation. I think, like you said, having any Jamal Charles has been a big blow. However, they've found new weapons, and that's Tyreek Hill. They've even with Matt Penn, they found other weapons. So this team going forward, they can be a threat, but that's heavily dependent on where they're seeded. Because the Raiders have lost Derek Carr with their gruesome injury. He was even mic'd up for that game against the Colts. And he said, my leg is broken. He knew surely it was broken. And it's one of those ones, it was the only play Donald Penn, even the whole O-line, where the only play they pretty much got beaten on or blitzed on. And it just happened that Derek Carr's leg got caught and he fell over and he fractured his tibia, if I'm not mistaken.
Which is a shame because I really thought they were going to make a really good push. And as great as the Patriots have been, the Raiders would have really given them a run for their money. And I think they would have. I think the
Raiders have... This is why the Raiders sometimes are somewhat off. They have 2 good pass rushers in Khalil Mack and Bruce Irvin. They've got 2 good pass rushers. I think that does give a bit, gives more time for a very average secondary, to keep up. But that defense against the Patriots, potentially on the road, it could have been potentially on the road. So they can still clinch the first seed if they win, the Patriots lose. But the Patriots are down in Miami. And then the Raiders have the Broncos without any Derek Carr. And maybe this would be a good
measuring stick
to see how they'd be in the playoffs, because Matt McLaurin's going to be quarterback for them.
Yeah.
He's not the worst of all backups, but it doesn't fill you with confidence.
And you have to, but I think in the AFC with the Patriots, home unless you're Denver, home field advantage, playing on the road, it doesn't really matter to Bill Belichick, Tom Brady, and them boys.
But they made an issue of getting home field this year after what happened last year. They came up short in Denver. Yeah,
but that's when they came up short in Denver. Right now, they're probably gonna end up maybe going to Oakland or Kansas. Well, the team that I think that obviously everyone's going to probably look at to challenge them the best is the Steelers, with that high-powered offense with you got Antonio Brown, Le'Veon Bell, Wheaton,
Jesse James,
Big Ben. I think,
but this is the thing with the Steelers. This is why I say they're a low key. I know they're the dark horses. They're always going to be the dark, but they turn up in January. Their defense is playing better now. Finally.
Which is going to be. That's what I'm saying. So if the defense can be serviceable, now I know you mentioned about whether a dominant defense can still be relevant in take you to the Super Bowl in the NFL. But just to allude to that in this discussion, the Steelers if the Steelers defense can be serviceable, not elite breaking and shutting teams down, but just be a serviceable bend or break, then. Just rely on the high-powered offense, and then they could probably do bits.
I think if it comes to shootouts, they're the most likely team to win at shootouts in the playoffs, especially with, with all the weapons. So they got Bell. Bell's probably the best running back in the league at the moment. He's missed 3 games in the season, but he's, achieving the most yards per game, most yards from the line of scrimmage per game, so running and receiving. And he is a weapon. I think people are only just taking him in the sense where they're only realizing just how much a good player is. When you see him at line of scrimmage, he's such a patient runner. When you have someone like Zeke,
he's the best. Someone
like Zeke's been phenomenal this year, but Zeke's the type of player that he's going to get worn down as the season goes along. You've seen how he's. I'm not saying he's. Funny thing is, one thing with Zeke's stats haven't gone down. He's been there, producing. But in January, that could take itself. Someone like Bell, who's not a physical back, he's more of a finesse back. You see his talent. So the Steelers have lots of weapons on the table, and I think all the teams in the AFC would would be wise to stay away from them. As I said, the only thing that's left to decide in the AFC is seeding. However, there's still a lot to decide in the NFC. And we're going to go straight and talk about the Sunday night game between the Packers and the Lions, which is going to go a long way to deciding the last few spots. We know that Dallas has already secured number 1.
Whoop!
Anyway, we know they already secured number 1, the number 1 seed and home field advantage. So pretty much, and the Falcons look like they may be number 2 seed, which means, in essence, that the tail end of the playoffs is going to be all played indoors. Which then brings me to my next point: Aaron Rodgers and the Packers.
Fuck.
We've seen how he's played indoors. We've seen how he's played, under a roof. So him and the Packers and the Lions are set to battle out in a winner takes all kind of game on Sunday night. And if the Packers win, they win the division. Mm-hmm. If the Lions can still lose and make the playoffs. But if their permutation for them is they lose, they can make the playoffs if the Bucks and the Redskins lose in week 17. And it's the Redskin game that's most important here, because they take on the Giants, who have already secured a wildcard spot. I don't know how they've done that. That team is just so fraudulent, but
I think they're fraudulent with that.
I think they're frauds.
That defense has come up big.
I think they're frauds. I think aside from the two Cowboys games, they've not been many great teams.
Talk about those Cowboy games. They were so close to losing. I know people say that they were so close, but yet they still pulled it out. Apart from Dez dropping and Odell doing his madness with that.
It's that, especially in the second game. So in the first game, Terrence Williams doesn't step out of bounds. In the second game, Odell breaks out for, in typical Odell fashion. Which I say he's one of those players. He's got slot receiver ability, and he does say he can produce it anywhere in the field, which then we saw that in that game. So aside from that, maybe does this fumble, Cowboys still, the Cowboys probably win both of these games and go to 16-0.
But it's good that we lost those games, so it knows that we need to be vigilant, and we need to really step up. They have a very good run defense, because that's what they do to shut down Zeke. And if you look at theirs, later in the season, Lyle Collins did step up, but initially it was their pass defense that was a burden to them. But I mean. I have to give Aaron. I know I go Aaron Rodgers quite a lot because mainly because of you, Yannick. But
you can't see right now. I'm smiling from ear to ear right now.
That's why I'm not looking. I'm drawing a stick, man. That's why I don't want to look at Yannick right now. But I mean, Aaron Rodgers has been amazing. When you said that they could run the table and get still make the playoffs, I was like, whatever. But he was a man of his word, and here we are with a shootout on Sunday. And it's such a big deal that I may not even watch Red Zone.
No, it's the last game of the day. It's the final. It's been flexed into the Sunday night game.
Sensational. So
it's the last Sunday night game of the season.
So it's New Year's Day. No work the next day. I can stay up, watch the Lions, Packers, play for play, bit. Because Red Zone, they still show the.
Yeah.
Wait, is it
no,
9 o'clock?
No. They show the afternoon and early evening games.
Yes, but is the
last game's on the Red Zone. Last game's on NBC. It's the NBC showcase game.
So it's the 1:30 a.m. game.
Yes.
Sensational. So I don't even have to worry about turning off Red Zone. But I'm definitely going to watch that game, and it's going to be an absolute show because we're going up. It's two average defenses coming up against two really good quarterbacks.
This is the thing with to talk about two average defenses. This is the problem. The Packers are a mediocre defense. The Lions have more talent.
No, they do.
They do. They have Ziggy Ansah, Darius Slay. They've got DeAndre Levy. They've had. We're talking about names. They've got some very good pieces on defense. However, because of injuries and because Ansah, Slay, and Levy have all been, at least once in the season played, or more than one game played for injury, or not played at all because of injury. And it's not even. The Lions themselves, this team, who their formula has been close games all season. I think it's only how many games have they won? The majority of the games they've won in the fourth quarter, or they've had to come back. I think there's only one game that they've led throughout, but it was still less than a score. They won by less than a score. But this is the problem. This team plays tight games. With the way they've been playing in the last few weeks, especially look at the game against the Cowboys. Cowboys had enough to play for. It was tight, 21-0. Going into early in the first half. And then the Cowboys pulled away. Why? Because this defense has been exposed. When defense gets exposed and Stafford can't produce the goods, you start to see the limitations of this team. However, saying that, I'm still, as a Packers fan, I'm still worried.
Yeah, you should be worried. I mean, look at, was it not last week against the was it last week or the week before against the Bears, where literally you guys were in a tight game.
17-point lead.
And you gave up.
We got the 17-point lead in the third quarter. Can you imagine against Matt Barkley and the Bears? But this is the thing. It's the thing about football. Like anything can happen. You watch that game, and it was just one or two drives that kind of killed it for us and let it come back. However, saying that, look at the way Aaron Rodgers was able to come back in and steer that team to the victory right at the end. But yeah, go back to the game. This game is delicately poised because the Packers on offense are probably playing probably the hottest team in the last 6 or so weeks. Since the loss against the Redskins, after their four-game losing streak, they've gone and ran literally, like Aaron Rodgers said, ran the table. Not only are they've got a ground game back in the shape of Ty Montgomery. They've got Nelson, they've got Adams playing, balling out of their skins, and they still don't even have Randall Cobb's out of the last game, so they're still missing it. Let me tell you the key to this Packers success.
Aaron Rodgers.
No, Aaron Rodgers and Jared Cook. Having a tight end has enabled this team to finally start balling like the 2010 Packers. Remember DeMichael Finley? Mm-hmm. Having DeMichael Finley on the field helps receivers like Nelson or Adams or Cobb in the slot not being double teamed because you have to focus on the tight end. He's made some crucial catches down the line. So Jared Cook and Aaron Rodgers, and also the development of Ty Montgomery, has finally allowed this team to play that. We all know they are.
I think with the development of Montgomery, I think it's a stopgap, but I think that will be their downfall. If not in this game, in the playoffs, not going to.
You saw in the last game. I think he had like 32 yards in the last game.
Yeah,
but he's but the thing is, the fact that he's a weapon, someone who can break tackles and go and run and literally run for touchdowns or for big gains is something they need. If they've not been able to get it, there were Christian Michael who can still do that, but he just can't learn the offense yet. We've seen him in the games he's played. He's been limited to his stats because he doesn't know how to learn. He can't learn the offense. But as I said, the Packers, if they win this game, have to recognise as one of the deadliest teams in this, especially in the NFC.
But do you see the Packers winning this game?
Because it's a big game, I'm naturally apprehensive.
I think if Matty Staff can pull it out, because I love Matthew Stafford, he's really come of age as a leader in this Lions team. So if he can come of age, if he can really come of age and step up, it'll be amazing. I think he can do it because he has all the necessary weapons. He has the leadership of the team, and if maybe this is me being a bit simple-minded, but if Matt Barkley can really punish that Packers defense, imagine what with a Marvin Jones, a Golden Tate, and Matty Staff.
Do you want to hear an interesting stat? In the last 9 games, Stafford only has 1 game of 300 yards, and in 7 of those games, he's thrown for 0 or 1 touchdown. So he's stagnated somewhat in those games, and a lot of those games have been against poor teams, albeit some teams like the Jaguars with deceptively good defenses. But for the most part,
deceptively good. No, because remember the Jags invested a lot into their defense.
The Jags are a top 10 defense. So
the thing is that what's that guy? That guy that they need to get rid of. His name slips on my. Yes, Blake Bortles. They need to.
Your best mate.
Probably, you know what they need to do when they come to London next year? Leave him here. Just leave him here.
Then he would just stay there until the next year.
No, then he can just go be a postman or something. He'll just go be something where he has no business being a quarterback for an NFL.
But it's going to be like I said, this game's going to be down to the quarterback. We talked about Matt Stafford's stats. Rodgers' stats here. Let me give Rodgers' stats in that 5-game winning streak. This before he took on the Vikings. So 11 touchdowns, no interceptions, 1,367 yards, 71% pass completion, and 120 passer rating.
Can he keep up?
But that's the problem here. Can you keep up? And it's like this game is going to come. It's not going to be now. I don't think the defenses are going to play. It's not. They play a secondary role. Is can they stop these 2 quarterbacks? That's it.
No, they won't be able to stop them. Can they limit the damage?
I think if any defense can limit damage, it'll be. I don't want to say the Packers because they're not playing. They're not great because they're still missing a lot of pieces. Like obviously, secondary is almost back apart from time shields. However, they have one of the best turnover differentials in this winning streak. They're turning the ball over, which has been key for this team. If they can, whoever wins the turnover battle is going to win this game. And as I said, it's got permutations for the playoff picture. If the Packers win, they win the division. If the Lions win, the Packers are most likely out unless the Bucs and the Redskins lose. So by the time we watch this game, there could be nothing to play for apart from who wins the division, because the Bucs and the Redskins, they both lose. Both these teams make the playoffs.
So wait, who have the Bucs got? The Bucs have got Panthers.
Yes.
So
and the Panthers haven't been great this season so far, but it's on the road.
So that's the NFC South. Who won the NFC South?
The Falcons.
Falcons, yes.
Falcons.
Falcons won it. Interesting. So but you didn't answer my question. Who would you put money on winning this?
You can't ask me that as a Packers fan because I'm apprehensive as.
Then I'm asking you as an NFL fan.
As an NFL fan, the Packers are the hot team. The Packers are going to win this game. As if I'm looking at we're looking at both teams and how they performed over the last few weeks, the Packers are playing much better than the Lions in every aspect of the game. In literally every aspect of the game, the Lions aren't turning the ball over. The Lions aren't, they're not.
I mean, the Packers are.
No, the Lions aren't getting turnovers on defense, should I say?
Ah, yes.
Stafford, with that slight injury he has to his hand, which he suffered a couple of weeks ago, he's even played even worse since then, because in a game against the Cowboys, they only had rushing touchdowns. So he wasn't passing.
Well, maybe that injury could be the tipping point.
But is Rodgers back to 100% yet?
He's definitely shown that. I mean, if this is not him at 100%, I want him to.
This is the problem.
I want him to stay out of the post because Aaron Rodgers is Aaron Rodgers. On his day, he will rip apart any defense.
There's a good chance that the Packers and the Cowboys cross paths in these playoffs. There's a very good chance it can happen if the Packers win.
If they do, we probably should be in the same place watching it.
Oh, we will be in the same place watching it. I'm going to make sure we are. Because
take time off work today. Sorry, I can't come in. I've got to go watch the Packers Cowboys game.
I think I should learn my lesson. The last time I watched the last year's game against the Cardinals at your house.
Yeah.
Heartbreak. The year before that is the infamous Seahawks game where I almost pretty much collapsed while my friends were watching, literally collapsed and literally broke down like a big kid. I think that's one of the worst experiences as a football fan. Aside from maybe United and Aguero killing off QPR. It's ranked. I don't know which is what it ranks alongside. Because remember, I think there's like 12 different. More than there's a few different ways Packers could have won that game. I think it's over 10 different scenarios where they could have won. I think it's like 12 scenarios where they could have won that game and we lost. But anyway, hopefully these players will be a lot nicer to me. So let's move on to our next topic. A very an interesting topic, one I'm going to enjoy talking about, the MVP race. We ran a poll on the Blow the Whistle Twitter page, and we asked the fans who they thought their MVP should be. Now, these are the 4 options. Okay, to only limit you to 4 options. So I had the options as Ezekiel Elliott, Matt Ryan, Tom Brady, and Aaron Rodgers. From our Twitter poll alone, 40% voted for Ezekiel Elliott, 30% for Aaron Rodgers, 20% for Tom Brady, and 10% for Matt Ryan. Fair enough, that's just a poll, but we need to open up the floor to a few more options.
Now, number one, I'm going to say it can't be Tom Brady because he was suspended. He wasn't injured. He was suspended for 4 games.
And no matter how good his stats look, regardless of
you have to remember, he came back to a 3-1 team. So, what's really been his impact?
This is
Ezekiel Elliott. I don't think a running back can really win or really should win the MVP unless they're hitting 2,000 yards.
Adrian
Peterson did. Aaron Rodgers. He's had a great run of games. What, was it 5 games you said that he's been?
It's 6 games now.
Last 6 games he's really pulled the Packers along back to playoff contention, which is great. But there's been one person that's been consistent from week 1 to now. Matty Ice.
I think, do you know what?
You have to remember, he lost his biggest weapon, the best wide receiver in this game.
But this is the thing. This is why you ask. Is the other question is Julio Jones that important to the team to the point where they've lost him, but they're still balling out of control and scoring?
Because in previous years they weren't. Even if they had Julio, they were still struggling. But
that's
now,
why it's important.
Matty Ice has really stepped up.
It's essential for an offense to have more than one big game player. I think this is where the
Freeman.
Yeah, they got Devontae Freeman. They got Taylor Gabriel.
Taylor Gabriel.
Mohamed Sanu.
And
obviously they've got
Jacob Tammy at tight end.
And they've still got Julio Jones. This team's dangerous. If it's a shootout, you're struggling to beat this team unless they capitulate like they did against the Chiefs. And this is why I say, if you go back to the previous topic, a team like the Giants is going to be limited in these playoffs, but they've only really got one big offensive weapon. They're supposed to have the best trio in the game, one of the best trios in the game, but it's only been Odell Beckham. So in the playoffs,
I think what the Lions' problem is that they have no. Not Lions. Giants' problem is they have no running back.
Yeah.
I mean, you got Rashad Jennings who can, but he is not going to be your difference maker. But you let's look at who the leaders or the main threats in the NFC are. You're thinking Dallas Cowboys with their O-line, with the likes of not just Ezekiel Elliott, you still got Darren McFadden and Alfred Morris sitting on the sidelines that can still do a job. And then you go to the Atlanta Falcons where you have Devontae Freeman balling, you have Tevin Coleman balling. So having a run game is really, really important, and that's what's going to be the Giants and the Packers' downfall come playoff time. Seahawks too, because they were a big winning team, but it seems like now it was really.
It's because of that O-line more than anything. I think.
Yeah, but I mean, beast mode was still.
Yeah, obviously you've probably lost like a Hall of Fame level running back, and fair enough, you replaced him with
Thomas
Rose,
who hasn't stepped up.
You've got CJ Prosapps he got injured, and you let go Christian Michael, and you've seen that this team is now limited. Obviously, they've got the issues with defense with losing Earl Thomas, but they're also a team who probably. They're not as facing as they once were.
Yeah, like when I listen to commentators and people throw Seahawks in there I'm like, they're not as big of a threat as everyone paints them out to be. My threat in the NFC, really, it's the Falcons. It's Falcons, and it's because of Matty Ice, my pick for the MVP.
If we somehow get the Falcons, Packers, they're probably going to be the best game in the playoffs because those teams. no matter where they've played, they've always produced high scores because both have, limited defenses. Both have, they both have electric offenses. So that's always a great recipe for, a high scoring game. But going back to the MVP race, Matt Ryan does deserve a lot of credit for what he's done. And this is the problem. Matt Ryan, he plays in SEC country. He plays in a region where college football is the bigger market as opposed to NFL. So he doesn't get, even though Atlanta has a big market, he doesn't get the same recognition as somebody like Tom Brady or somebody like Aaron Rodgers. Even Aaron Rodgers plays in Green Bay. Green Bay is still a big-ish market because it's a historic franchise. So it's still going to be a big market no matter where they are. So there's always going to be there's always going to be overshadowed by the bigger names. But then if it's Zeke or Elliott, he's another discussion with his MVP run.
I think he maybe for offensive player of the year or offensive rookie. Because I don't think he'll be there for MVP.
Unless
honourable mention, but I don't think he's in there as well.
He could get offensive player of the year. I think
Dak Prescott rookie of the year.
No, I think Zeke gets it. I'm sorry, I think Zeke gets it because Zeke. I think I used to say this line deserves more credit for what they've done. And
but no, what I found out the other day, there was a stat where they showed how much yards a line produces per team, and the Cowboys were actually, I believe, 5th or 6th, and the number 1 team was Buffalo.
Yeah,
but
you see why, because they've also got a great running back in LaShawn McCoy. He's been somewhat overshadowed himself this year. LaShawn McCoy's had a great season,
but then the Bills haven't. So
that's the problem. Is the MVP discussion? Is it? Do you have to be, without having a discussion in all sports? Do you have to be on a team that's performing well in the season to be talked about as MVP?
Yeah. So in terms of the team that's or let's not say the team, but in teams because in the NFL it's not just a team with the best record, unless it's Cam Newton where you have an absolutely amazing record. Yeah. It's a case where among these teams with the best record, which player has really stood out?
It's the most valuable player. So we are saying it's the most valuable. If you take Zeke from the Cowboys, they're still making the playoffs, in my opinion. I think they do. Because we've seen in past years where, a player like DeMarco Murray behind that line.
Hey, don't just say a player like DeMarco.
No, I'm saying DeMarco Murray was excellent. I'm saying a player like DeMarco Murray produced great results behind that line. Zeke's done exactly the same thing. So,
and that year that DeMarco did, he was up there for MVP.
Exactly, but it's the same. Then you got to talk about, you can't pick out one person from the line. The line is the reason why these players are great. No matter how, these players are great. These players are fantastic. No, these players are fantastic. Zeke is actually a very good back. But if you put them behind the line at the Seahawks line, like him and DeMarco Murray that year, and at this current Seahawks line, do they produce the same results? I don't think they do. Because it's a back, sometimes you forget that when the backers or the rusher, whichever different player is, makes into the backfield, it makes the back's job that much harder. Obviously, someone like Zeke is so talented, we can break these tackles. But if that happens along the whole season, you're not seeing the same numbers. Do you know what I mean? So this is why I say Zeke does deserve to be talked about because he's actually a very talented player. But then you got to look at players like David Johnson, LaShawn McCoy, even DeMarco Murray have had great seasons.
But their teams haven't produced.
That's the problem. So are we talking? So I'm of the mind where I think players who've had fantastic individual, because this is an individual, it's not a team award at the end of the day. You can't say you got to focus on a team when it's an individual award. You've really got to talk about individual positions. And I'll talk about Aaron Rodgers. Fair enough. People are saying, it's second half of the season and he pulled off, but he's been playing this way almost all season. So his receivers are finally starting to catch the ball. He's finally got a decent, version of a run game. Do you know what I mean? He's top 5 in a lot of passing categories in terms of pass yards. He's first in total touchdowns. So you don't get that just because of a run. Do you know what I mean? He's been he's been throwing a lot of high touchdown all season long. Do you know what I mean? So if you say someone like Matt Ryan has been consistent, which is fair enough, he's good. But when you talk about amazing games, Rodgers had more amazing games than some of these players. And he could well and truly win this. Fair enough, we talk about Tom Brady and running as well. But we're forgetting of a player, like you said, like the David Johnsons. Maybe even Le'Veon Bell. If Brady's in the discussion, Bell deserves to be in the discussion. Because he's
but I don't think Brady's in the discussion, which is the case. I mean, I understand that. I mean, if Aaron Rodgers can pull it off, run the table, get the Packers, it's not even a case where if he gets it, I'll feel he's robbed. I mean, we're talking about it's unlike last year where there was a clear standout winner. I think this year there's a number of people, if they win it, you can't really complain. I mean, my pick, yes, is Matty Ice, but if Aaron Rodgers pulls it off and wins it, what can you say? A man dragged the team.
Wait, I said in the last podcast, I had a discussion with Jeff. I don't think Rodgers will win it. I don't think him being there should be an issue though. I don't think him being in a discussion is an issue at all, considering what he's done.
It's not.
If we're talking Matt Ryan, like I said, I pretty much agree with you. Matt Ryan deserves the MVP, but he's constantly overshadowed because of where he plays and the team plays for, because they just don't get much media recognition. So they always going to look at players like Zeke, plays for the Cowboys, America's team.
Yes, because the Cowboys are media darlings. But
exactly.
Doesn't mean that he deserves to.
He doesn't. But that's the thing. These votes are never based on merit. They're always based. I think it's a blend of merit and as well as the team and the market you play in. Like I say, you talk about players like Odell Beckham. He plays in New York and he's regarded as one of the best receivers in the league. And you look at a player like Mike Evans, been producing great numbers, but people AJ Green, but they play in regions where it's coverage is dominated by college sports. AJ Green plays in Cincinnati. You've got Ohio State around the corner. Mike Evans plays in SEC land. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You got Bama, you got Florida, you got all these teams, you got LSU in the same region, so they're always going to get overshadowed. And this is the problem with the NFL, because it's one of a lot of American sports. The bigger market's always going to get more recognition than the smaller ones. It's not only until the Golden State Warriors in basketball became this dominant force that people start focusing on this small franchise. Do you know what I mean? So it's this. I think this MVP debate. I don't think there's a universal measurement, which is the reason why there's always so much debate about who should win it. If Rodgers wins it, it'll be his third MVP. It's crazy to think that. Do you know what I mean? Third MVP, but I don't think he'll win. I think, like I said, Matty Ice deserves to win it, and the media was more, focused on someone like Tom Brady winning it, because the media discussion is being towards Tom Brady and him winning it. But
who would you pick?
I'm looking at the package, so I'm looking at Aaron Rodgers.
And I'll pick him.
But if I'm being sane, I'm being very totally unbiased, I'm picking Matty Ice.
Matty Ice!
Do you know what I mean? So, okay.
And last, not last.
This is our discussion segment. I actually enjoy this part of the podcast because you kind of get different perspectives. You kind of get to look at how teams function and and what makes them great. We're going to talk about defenses and whether elite defenses are needed to win the Super Bowl.
No.
No.
You don't need. Do you know what?
What's more important? We should change the question. What's more important, an elite defense or a franchise level quarterback?
Ready for this?
Go on.
Neither. Let me break it down.
Okay.
In the NFL, which makes the sport so beautiful, it's all about the sum of the parts.
Yeah.
You can have an elite defense, but if they're constantly having to come back onto the field because your offense is putrid, you're not gonna win.
Okay.
The same way that even if your offense is high powered and always putting up points, but your defense is a shambles, you're not going to win because you're constantly going to be leaking. Every single play is not going to result in a touchdown or a field goal.
You can't say either, though.
Wait. So what I believe is you need the perfect blend.
See, that's a cop-out. That's a cop-out.
No.
That's a cop-out.
It's not because sometimes you catch the lightning in the bottle with the Broncos last year, but you still have to remember, even though their offense was putting up high numbers, you had C.J. Anderson, you had Demaryius Thomas, you had Emmanuel Sanders, you had great pieces, and you had the mind.
Wait. Peyton Manning didn't throw a touchdown in that game.
Wait. I suppose let me finish. So even though you didn't have the mind, you didn't have the technical brilliance of Peyton Manning in his pomp in that Super Bowl, you still had the mind. Even when the body goes, the mind is still there. So if you're telling me that having a veteran, an absolute guaranteed first ballot Hall of Famer in Peyton Manning back there isn't going to be a factor in the Super Bowl, you're having a laugh. I know his postseason record is not the best, but I believe having a serviceable, very good QB and having a very good defense measures better than having one of them elite.
See, this is what I say. I agree with you in a sense where you do need to have balance, but I'm asking the question is, which is more important? Because Peyton Manning, the reason for a lot of these postseason, his lack of success in the postseason is somewhat being down to defensive issues. Like through his Colts days, the reason why I kept losing to Tom Brady because he never really had a great defense. even at the first season as the Broncos, in that crazy season game against the Ravens, or the Ravens ended up winning the Super Bowl, he lost because the defense had a lapse concentration. Against Seahawks, that was just an aberration. That game was just one of those things where I think if you play that game 3 or 4 times, 10 times over, you don't get that result. That game was just the whole team was just. I watched that game and my mouth dropped. I can't remember I watched that game. I watched that game, mouth dropped and everything. It was crazy. And if you look back, and obviously with his win last year, getting 2-2 all time in the Super Bowl, who bailed on that? His defense.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean? So I'm not like I will lean to if you have a franchise QB. I'm not saying elite QB, a franchise QB. You can only get so far in the playoffs. Look at Alex Smith.
He's not a franchise QB.
He's a franchise QB.
He's
a franchise QB. He's not an elite QB, but he's a franchise QB.
Well, what do you mean? You can't be in the league. You can't be a franchise.
He's a franchise QB. Is a QB that's probably in the top 15.
Yeah. That means you're elite.
No, you're not elite. Elite's top 5. Let's separate. Okay, let's quickly separate the elite from the rest. So talk about elite quarterbacks: Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, put Russell Wilson there, Cam Newton, and when he's burning, Big Ben,
Drew Brees,
yep,
Andrew Luck, even though he hasn't been with the.
See, Luck. That's up for another story. But Luck gets too much of a blight because, fair enough, he has to do a lot for that team.
He has no O-line. He has an ancient man behind him as a running back.
But wait! Don't discredit Frank Gore. If the Packers have Frank Gore in the backfield, it's a totally different offense. So you can't. There's some players. There's some teams. Look at the Seahawks. Russell Wilson doesn't have a lot, but he gets the job done.
Pardon.
He gets the job done though. He's the
that defense is still carrying him.
We're talking about offensive weapons here.
I'm saying.
I don't think Luck's elite, to be honest. I think Matt Ryan's elite.
Yeah, that's great.
Okay, cool. And the rest that you can't. He's not elite.
I don't think he's elite yet.
No, not yet. No way. He's very good. He leads the next him players like him, Phil Rivers, Andrew Luck. I think those players lead the next group of players. They're not elite per se. There's the debate over their elite status, but they are top level franchise QBs. Obviously, you have the low level franchise QBs like the Kirk Cousins, very serviceable, very good QBs. They're serviceable, but they're not elite They're not top level franchise QBs. But you need having a QB like that on your team doesn't hurt you as much as a Blake Bortles does. Doesn't hurt you as much as a Brock Osweiler. Do you know what I mean?
That rubber.
I feel sorry for Osweiler because
why?
I think he's a better QB than the season shows. We saw him at the Broncos. He could have carried on being the QB for that team. So they probably would have won the game still. They're probably still winning the game.
What I find so funny that people realize, Brock Osweiler has now he's left the Broncos and he's gone to a team and they drafted Will Fuller, they brought in Lamar Miller, and they had a bona fide top 10 wide receiver in DeAndre Hopkins, who balled out with 4 different QBs
last year.
And all of a sudden,
you bring in Tom Savage and he's balling out again. But then that has to be a play calling thing because he immediately got more targets with Tom Savage as opposed to when he was with Brock Osweiler. But that's down to.
Are you sure it's down to play call? Maybe
it has to be down.
Maybe Brock just go through his reads quick enough.
But but they were airing the ball a lot more with Tom Savage versus Osweiler. Osweiler still has an arm. But I don't know. There's something's happened to him this season where it's just literally He's been exposed. Yeah, I think exposed is the right word. But he's still got a very good defense. So you got to ask yourself what the issue is. But that's like I said, that's a debate for another discussion, for another podcast. I don't talk about what's better, dominant defense or not an elite quarterback, but just a franchise quarterback. If you have obviously the key example now is the Broncos. Last year, Manning wasn't playing at an elite level. But defense was, and it won the Super Bowl. This year, it's almost the same defense. They've lost a few pieces. Brandon Marsh has been injured this season, and they couldn't get the job done. However, if a few scores go their way, they're in the playoffs.
But that's how it is in sports.
That's how it is. So
it comes to the details, as Jose Mourinho says. It's all about the details, the small details. And if you can't look at the small details, then you're not going to get anywhere. And that's where it is with the Broncos. And that's why I say that's why you can't. When you ask me which one's more important, I can't really say. I can't really say because you can have, it varies. It's one of those ones where I just say it's about balance. It's not about having.
But the thing is, it's always going to be about balance. That's what wins you a lot of things. You can balance out both sides of the field. you're going to get really far. But it's not like that for all teams. Some teams are severely imbalanced. Just like, let's just say the Broncos, the Cowboys. Let me get your example about a defense being on the field. The Cowboys' style of play keeps the defense off the field, but the defense is all right. It's not bad.
No,
defense is good.
The defense is good. It bends.
It's a bend. Don't break.
Our
defense.
game management is
exactly
because you defend with the ball.
You know what it is? Your defense is always fresh.
Do you know what it is? Lou Van Gaal would love us. Because Louis Van Gaal played possession football, not because he liked to have the ball, he just didn't want the other team to have it. So what we do, we clock watch, we grind, we run, we think and dunk, and it's beautiful.
Yes. But at the end of the day, this is what I'm saying.
Just had to throw some cowboy love there.
Yeah, of course, as always. The Cowboys they keep the defense off. They keep the defense off the field. Defense is always fresh. A defense that's not the greatest secondary needs a healthy pass rush. Your pass rush is underrated. You get to the QB. If your pass rush is fresh, you're always going to be able to get QB and allow your secondary to a lot more time on the ball, which is, allow this defense to be top 5 in certain categories. You know what I mean? Like I said, though, if you look at the past winners of the Super Bowl, last season was the Broncos. Season before was the Patriots, who are a very underrated defense, and they won that game on defense. Before that, it's the Seahawks.
That's true.
Do you know what I mean?
Defense.
Before that, it's the Seahawks. The defense killed the Broncos.
One before the Seahawks.
Before the Seahawks was the Ravens defense. Before that, it was the Packers. It was the Giants again.
No, was it Giants?
Was it the Giants?
Well, let's just look at the last 4. You know what, Yannick?
Say it.
Wait.
Say it.
Wait.
Say it. Say it.
I'll have to give it to you.
Say it. Say it. Say it. See, you. I think.
Hey, I need to process the.
Obviously, if you look at it,
I need to have a drink.
Wait. If you look at the winning quarterbacks from those years, you've got Russell Wilson, Tom Brady, Joe Flacco. You've got Peyton Manning. So obviously, you've got like franchise QBs there. You said it's balanced, but what's more important? The important factors on those teams were the defenses. Successful these teams were the defenses. Do you know what I mean? The Ravens don't beat the Broncos without a good defense in the conference game. The Seahawks don't blitz the Broncos without a great defense. No, without that elite defense. No way, that's a much tighter game. Do you know what I mean? So I always say a dominant defense is still crucial. It's so crucial in this game.
I'm going to say this, Ronald. I have to agree with you.
The last time a high-powered offense won the Super Bowl was probably the Packers and the Saints. The last 2 high-powered offenses to win the game. Because the Giants were really high-powered offense when they won the Super Bowl. It's also the Giants and the Packers are the last 2 high-powered offenses to win the Super Bowl. Just say I'm right. Just say it, baby. Say it, baby. Say I'm right. So Yannick was right. You guys, you listen to this. The momentous occasion in the BTW Podcast. Almost our 40th episode, and Yannick was right. Just say it's for the end of the podcast, man.
Yannick. On this occasion.
Oh, God.
No other occasion. On this occasion.
Oh, God.
I agree with you.
There you go.
I didn't say you were right. I just said I agree with you.
See,
I'm not using that.
This is what I say, Rella. Sorry for it to go. Right, you're a lighty. Just admit I'm right. Stop behaving like a lighty.
I can't do it, but my pride is too much. Oh. But I agree. A defense is more important than an offense.
No, that wasn't. Than a franchise QB.
An elite defense is more important
than a franchise QB. Because you need the defense to help you.
Defense wins championships.
Offense wins games.
I can't do this pod no more. I can't do this.
And guys, that is the end of a very entertaining BTW Podcast, our NFL
How
special.
about them boys?
Okay, Cowboys fan wearing a Chiefs jersey.
Jamal Charles is great.
A Cowboys fan wearing a Chiefs jersey, getting hyped.
Jamal Charles is great.
I think I'm in a house full of Cowboys fans right now. But anyway, as a Packers fan, watch out for us, baby. Anyway, until next time, guys. Goodbye from me and goodbye from him.